Good evening. This is Stone Gasman. Welcome to the first audio commentary for my YouTube channel. And I decided to do tonight the Abominable Dr. Phibes from 1971. And it was actually released on this very day, May 18th in 1971, approximately 50 years ago today. Now, to be perfectly honest, before I start the movie, honestly, I have not seen this movie since high school. I remember renting it from the library when I was maybe 12, 13 years old. And it was one of the first Vincent Price movies I ever saw. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the first Vincent Price movie I ever saw was Edward Scissorhands, which was actually his last film, which he did for director Tim Burton, where he played the doctor who helped create the Scissorhands on Johnny Depp. And to be perfectly honest, I've seen some of Price's movies over the years. I've not had the opportunity to view a majority of his resume, but you know, films like Leave Her to Heaven, and in fact, he was House of Wax, the remake of Mystery of the Wax Museum from 1933. So he's been in a lot of significant films, particularly the Poe films, Roger Corman in the 60s. And Abominable Dr. Phibes is actually considered one of his most well-known films, one of his most respected outings. It's been cited as being a bit campy nowadays, or at least by some critics at the time, and some people as well as now. Honestly, this is the first time that I've watched it in 20 some odd years since I rented it from the library. And for those of you who are thinking this is going to be a very in-depth discussion and everything, I'm going to give you a warning right now that I essentially chose this movie almost as a trial run, because I figured this would be a good example of checking out a film many years later and commenting now, because there was only the faintest amount of imagery that I kept since high school. You know, him playing the organ, you know, frog heads, that kind of thing. And so I wanted to actually almost do this as a reaction. I mean, there are films that I have vastly more knowledge on, and there are films that I've seen, of course, multiple times where, you know, I could provide a more in-depth discussion, and certainly the films later that will happen. But this is kind of going to be a reaction to the movie after all these years, and I will provide as many information details as I possibly can. There was actually a 50th anniversary podcast done yesterday, where the actress that plays Dr. Phibes' wife in Photographs, Carolyn Monroe, actually did a Q&A, and she's one of the surviving cast members from this movie, even though ironically we only see her via pictures. So granted, there are individuals that have vastly more knowledge about this film than I do, and everything. But I'd like to welcome Ging Azara Vlog in the chat. How you doing? It was delightful being on your podcast a few days ago, where I got to learn some of the Filipino language, which is awesome. But welcome to the commentary. Just to let you know, you don't have to get this on you don't have to pay for this movie. There's actually a copy already uploaded on YouTube that you can bring up on a separate screen if you'd like to follow along with me, and I'll give you a few minutes to do that. In fact, we'll probably start the commentary at approximately 2 minutes here, and we're going to start right at the American International logo, which opens up the movie. I actually have Abominable Dr. Phibes on the Scream Factory Blu-ray, which actually is a 6-film set, which came out just last year, courtesy of Scream Factory. And excuse me, I'll just bring this up real quick. And this actually, this release right here has about 3 audio commentaries already on it already. So if you want more in-depth information, those Blu-rays could provide that for you. However, for this, mainly this is going to be more of a reaction, and I was hoping to have a few more people ready for this commentary. However, it's very late, and obviously most people have gone to bed by now. But at the same time, I'm just going to chill and have some fun and talk about what I'm seeing on the screen. Actually, we will start at the MGM logo, which opens up the film. And like I said, Ging, if you want to bring up the Abominable Dr. Phibes, actually, I can even provide a link to it just real quick here. But like I said, this is going to be a very, very interesting reaction to this movie after so many years. I mean, it's a very colorful, if a little campy, but here again, I think that it, for Vincent Price fans especially, I think it provides a quite the experience. I will go ahead and post that right here. Okay. So yeah, there's a link if you want to watch it, and actually that starts on the American International logo. So, so just to let you know, I will go ahead and get ready for that and pause on that logo and give just another couple minutes for anybody else who might be in the chat. If anybody else besides Ging is in the chat, please let me know of your presence. And everything, but I think this is going to be interesting. Just before I start, I would like to say that next week, Monday night at 11 a.m., as opposed to Tuesday at midnight, but next Monday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be doing a commentary for Escape from the Planet of the Apes, the 3rd film in the original franchise, which started in 1968. And I will have a very special guest with me, Scott Michael Bosco, who was actually at the theater in 1971. If I remember correctly, he told me it was one of, if not the very first, but the very first movie he remembers seeing in the theater at the age of 9. And he is a massive Planet of the Apes fan. So it's going to be wonderful next week in terms of having somebody else who has a lot more history with the actual film. But at the same time, for this, I think this is just basically going to be a trial run. Here again. One more time, I apologize that this is not going to be as professional as some other commentaries that you would find on the Blu-ray, such as this one. But at the same time, I think this is going to be tremendous. And Ging, since you're going to be able to watch it, let me know what you think of it in the comments, and I'll be sure to verbally let that out and everything. So. Actually, Ging, if you really want to actually just join me on the commentary, I can bring you up here, and you can, if you'd like to do that, I can be more than happy to send you the link for the stream. Or if you want to remain in the chat, that's perfectly fine too. But at any rate, I think we will go ahead and get started here. Like I said, starting at the American International logo with these pinkish steps behind it, the pink marble steps, which actually, is actually a nice little cool little image to prepare us for what is to come here. So without further ado, we will start at countdown from 3, 2, 1, and press play. Okay, there's the old American International logo. And we are going up these steps to somebody playing an organ in a large black robe. This, of course, is the titular Dr. Phibes, played by Vincent Price, who we will see his face a little bit later. Now, these like I said, one thing that I remember this from my youth is, like I said, the colors. I mean, the colors and the sets in this movie are really quite extraordinary. I mean, even when you consider, you know, some of the campiness that may be involved here in terms of plot and story, visually speaking, this movie is just incredible to look at. I mean, you know, even with the sound all the way down, I mean, you can appreciate a lot of what you see very visually. Now, this music piece that he has opened it up is actually the War March of the Priests. This organ score by Felix Mendelssohn Bartholdy. And if Felix Mendelssohn, if that name rings a bell, he is actually responsible for the famous Wedding March music, which he composed at 17 years old. And it's been cited as the greatest piece of music ever conducted by a teenager. There you go. Makeup by Trevor Kroll Rees. Now, the makeup in this film is very, very interesting because I've actually read some conflicting reports that a lot of times the makeup that he had on, it was actually a mask. I mean, it's a little difficult to tell. I mean, if you don't know for sure. Oh, original music composed and arranged by Basil Kirchman, and we'll talk about the music a little bit later. But the makeup in this film is quite inspired. And essentially, he is wearing a mask. Although, I mean, because he plays a organist that was involved in a car accident where his face is supremely scarred and everything, it actually matches. Now, okay. Now, when I was a kid, I remember seeing this quote-unquote band for the first time that are essentially fake bodies holding instruments, and I was wondering, whoa, what is this? I mean, first of all, just the shot of the organ alone is so striking, and as you can see, there's a drum there that says Dr. Phibes, Clockwork Wizards. Essentially his FAW band, I guess you could say, and as you can see, they are now coming to life, and he is now conducting this orchestra. Interestingly enough, this came, of course, like I said, this came out in May of 1971. In December of that year, we would have the adaptation of Anthony Burgess's Clockwork Orange by director Stanley Kubrick, which was also a British film, incidentally. Now, this lady about to appear, this is Virginia North is her name, and she didn't do a lot of movies, unfortunately. But as you can see, she comes in a beautiful white dress with a very quite original headpiece there. Strolling down the stairs towards Dr. Phibes. And Virginia North, she only did 5 films. Her most famous being the James Bond epic On Her Majesty's Secret Service from 1969. And here she is dancing with Dr. Phibes to the Fall Orchestra. I mean, there's something creepy about these fake. I mean, you look in the back and there's, busts, I guess you could say, with black ties and everything. This stuff is just creepy. It's so weird. I mean, like the ears, they have like, it almost looks like there's an S, sort of like a symphony that you would see on like the front of a violin. But this is just an extraordinary set. Here again, wonderful use of color, wonderful use of lighting. And this black robe that he has on is just quite gorgeous, actually. I mean, but Virginia North, who we just saw that she was in On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And what's interesting is that she did a TV movie this same year where she was basically, she played her performance completely mute. She doesn't have a single line of dialogue. And guess what? In this film, her final film, she does not say a word. whatsoever throughout this entire piece. Now, why is that? We can touch upon that later. Yeah, this was all filmed at Elstree Studios in the United Kingdom. Another interesting headdress there. There's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of striking costumes and headwear in this movie that here again, even if you don't care for the now, what is this film about necessarily? Well, the idea is that Vincent Price plays an organist who died in a car crash about 4 years ago. This is set in 1925. And Dr. Phibes is believed, he's actually a PhD in theology. And he is actually an, very scholar, well-versed in the Bible. And he, his wife apparently very sadly died in 1921, 4 years before this movie is set in 1925. His wife sadly died in a botched surgery. And the idea is that he's been in hiding for 4 years, and now he's coming out of his hiding to basically kill a bunch of doctors that had tried to work on the surgery of his wife and everything. And he proceeds to kill all 9 individuals responsible via the plagues of Egypt, the 10 plagues of Egypt from the book of Exodus, where he's going to basically execute all these doctors for revenge against, the botched surgery that killed his beloved wife. And we are about to see the first of those murders right now, which there's 10 of them, like I said, and one of them is through lice and gnats. But in fact, this is one of the ones that they decided to change for a multitude of reasons. And instead of using lice or gnats, Dr. Phibes decides to use bats. Now, the bats in this movie are very big, and yes, they are very, very creepy, as you can see right here. They're crawling all over them. To be perfectly honest, these are not vampire bats. These are fruit bats. As a matter of fact, they're specifically, excuse me, they're specifically called flying foxes. And they're fruit bats. They're very, very harmless to humans. I mean, the vampire bats that we're aware of, like with rabies and everything, are actually very, very small. And I must credit the first assistant director on Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, because as Indiana Jones and Short Round and Kate Capshaw are going to the temple to rescue the children in India, you see a bunch of bats flying overhead, and they're very big bats. Basically the same bats that you saw right there. They're fruit bats. They're not vampire bats. Oh, Ging, I'm sorry I did not watch the Miss Universe pageant. To be perfectly honest, I don't care for pageants that much. I don't think that they're, yeah, I've just never really believed in them or wanted to watch them or whatever. But to be honest, I mean, I almost would want to see one if they included all the costumes from this movie. I mean, I think that would be very interesting. But at any rate, this is London in the early 70s. This was of course, the era of hammer horror, and oh god, these sets are gorgeous. And it must be noted that this film was directed by Robert. The bat came in on the string. You can see it almost, and they're just hanging around. That is a magnificent shot right there. Where the bats basically chewed his face off. That's actually really excellent makeup right there. Now that's an amulet, and apparently he uses these amulets to carry out these murders. Hey, Off the Grill podcast, how you guys doing? You know what? Let me just do this. I think it's about time. If you know, if you really like to come in the commentary, I could use some backup and maybe some additional help here. But here we go. Let me go ahead and throw the link to the commentary. If you'd like to join on in, please do so. I mean, even if you've never seen this movie before, or you know, would like to you know, just you know, we don't have to talk about the movie the entire time, but I just wanted to throw out, you know, a lot of stuff in the opening. So yeah, off the grill, this is Ging Azara. I'd like to here again thank you both for coming. This is my very first commentary for the YouTube channel, and here again, even though this is not a film that I have a lot of experience with and I've seen you know, many times, you know, I figured for a first commentary this would be ideal simply because I haven't seen it since high school. And off the grill podcast, we just missed the very first death, which involved these giant fruit bats, which was pretty amazing. And we saw his face all chewed up. Like I said, excellent makeup. Now here we have this actor on the right here. His name is Peter Jeffrey, who plays Inspector Trout, who comes to investigate these series of murders. And evidently in this scene, I'm pretty sure it's the scene. I mean, I may be wrong, but they mentioned that there was another person that died off screen before this. This is actually the second death in terms of the timeline. We never saw the first death, but the first death was evidently done by bees. A doctor died just by bees off the screen. Granted, this is about 7 years before the swarm. I guess they, you know, they thought the logistics of, you know, just basically putting a bunch of bees in would be almost impossible. But now, as you can see, here's Vincent Price with the. If you know it's a mask, I think you can pretty much tell based on the discolorization of his face. But here is going back to this this awesome organ. I mean, you know, this organ, I just can't get enough of it, and it's one of those things that, like I said, remained in my memory ever since I was a kid. But at any rate, so apparently there's been 2 deaths so far of the 10 plagues of Egypt, which involved the bats, which took the place of the lice and the gnats, as well as bees, which basically the plague is specifically called the boils for that one. And they made another change, which of course we'll point out a bit later. But the other plagues, the 8 other plagues that we are expected here, include frogs. As you can see, he's holding a frog mask. So this is obviously going to be the very next doctor that bites the dust. I don't know why, but well, I mean, a lot of these masks actually remind me of the masks in Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut for some reason, even though this is hardly well, I mean, you know, aside from the fact that both are set in the 1920s, there's really not any other connection between the two. But yeah, here he is putting on this frog mask. If you want to call that campy, go ahead. I mean, I still think that I still think this is a very nice mask. I mean, he does look like a frog man, essentially. See, there's other. So I guess this is like an animal style ball. But as you can see, everybody's wearing masks, essentially. Not the masks we're wearing now, but you know, very interesting sequence where they're all wearing masks. And as you can see, due to the fact that it looks like he's being suffocated, but in fact, let me just bring something up here. Again, let me ask you, what do you think of this movie so far? What is your reaction to it? I mean, is there anything that is standing out to you at all, or anything? I mean, there's a lot of crazy stuff that happens in this movie. especially from a visual perspective. Give me 1 second. I just want to bring something up here. So yeah, there's a horse mask. There's, yeah. And as you can see, there's another amulet signifying another death. There we go. So the 10 plagues, we'll go ahead and just list them all right here. 1, turning water into blood. Number 2, frogs, as we just saw. Lice and gnats, which of course became bats, as we saw earlier. Wild animals or flies, and we will see that later in a plane sequence. I will point that out to you. But they, in fact, the wild animal they decided to go with is a very interesting choice. Livestock or diseased animals. The boils, which of course was the bees, as I mentioned earlier, off screen. Thunderstorm of hail and fire. And we will see the hail later in the form of something man-made and not natural. Locusts. We'll be seeing locusts later. Not as prevalent as in Exorcist II, The Heretic, of course. But yes, we will be seeing a bunch of locusts later. And then finally, 2 more. Death of a firstborn. How many times have we heard that one before? And then finally, last but not least, which of course serves as the very last death in this movie, darkness for 3 days. Now, as I said, this film was directed by Robert Fuest, who he was a film director, a screenwriter, a production designer, and as you can see, the production design in this film is glorious. Here again, the colors. I mean, there's violet, there's red, there's, so many wonderful, wonderful, rich colors in this movie, which I think makes it stand out. But the director, he actually, he only made 10 films, believe it or not. He only directed 10 films, but he did a adaptation of Emily Bronte's Wuthering Heights in 1970, starring Timothy Dalton, who, of course, many people know now as who played James Bond in a couple movies. He directed the sequel to The Abominable Dr. Phibes called Dr. Phibes Rises Again, which came out in 1972, approximately 1 year after this movie. And he also directed a 1975 film called The Devil's Reign. And The Devil's Reign had actually starred Ernest Borgnine and William Shatner, as well as Tom Skerritt, Ida Lupino, and Keenan Wynn. However, what it's really known for nowadays is being the very first film of John Travolta, of all people. John Travolta made his film debut in 1975 in a film called The Devil's Reign. And finally, Fuest also directed another sequel to the 75 film The Stepford Wives called Revenge of the Stepford Wives, which was made for TV. His last movie being a softcore sex movie filmed in Greece called Aphrodite, which, I'll be perfectly honest, I don't have any interest in. As a matter of fact, of all the films that he's made, I mean, I would be up to seeing Wuthering Heights and The Devil's Reign, but aside from that, I think I will pass on the others that he did. There's actually a lot of timestamp. Yes, let me. I'll see if I'll give you a timestamp. I'm so sorry, off the grill. Let me give you a timestamp here. 1956 is where I'm at right now, and so approximately 20 minutes in. Approximately 20 minutes in right now, so you can go ahead and jump to that. I do apologize. I had another screen up, but at any rate. Again, I hope you're enjoying the movie so far. I really do. I know it's I know it looks a little crazy so far, and hopefully the bats didn't scare you away. But I mean, and this is not full-blooded horror. I mean, this is more a combination of horror and black comedy, and it's not very gory. you don't have to worry about a lot of blood being in this movie. It was PG rated, so it isn't that strong. And one more thing I should say about the director, Robert Fuest, is that he, according to Vincent Price, he was one of the youngest directors he ever worked with, and also one of the best. So unfortunately, sorry, Tim Burton, but Vincent Price thinks that the director of the Phibes movies was possibly the best director he ever worked with. And and he was obviously willing to do the sequel the next year. So yeah, here we go. This is okay. Now, Inspector Trout, who's on the right here, is played by an actor named Peter Jeffrey. And he had done a number of films in the 60s, such as Beckett and 1,000 Days and Countess Dracula in 1970, and also an adaptation of Kidnapped by Robert Louis Stevenson in 1973. But what I know him best from is actually, I think, what ranks among some of the greatest British films of all time, which is known as the Mick Travis Trilogy. In 1968, director Lindsay Anderson made a film about his youth in boarding school called If, which suggested the idea of a revolution started by a bunch of students, starring Malcolm McDowell, of all people, who would, of course, later explode this year in 1971 in Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. And the Mick Travis trilogy, of course, it started with If in 1968, followed by Oh Lucky Man, 1973, and following up with Britannia Hospital in 1982, which, as a matter of fact, Britannia Hospital just came out on Blu-ray last year. If you live in the UK, it came out in a limited edition, and if you live in the United States, it came out in by Kino Lorber. And Britannia Hospital is considered the weakest of the trilogy, but I actually think, when I saw it again recently, I was actually stunned at how prophetic it was. And you will see if you watch Britannia Hospital, where just everything is total chaos. The Queen Mother is visiting this hospital where, of course, they're giving special treatment to the rich and treating the poor like crap. There's a bunch of protests outside. Very, very 2020 in that regard. If you check out Britannia Hospital, it's a magnificent black comedy on the national healthcare system and, of course, British society in general. Oh, I'd like to welcome Cliff Booth. How you doing? Didn't know this movie was on YouTube. Thanks for the heads up. Yes, I did provide a link to the movie, and we are at timestamp, just to give an update. We are at 24 minutes, approximately 24 minutes in, if you'd like to jump to that timestamp right there. So yeah, there's a lot. Oh, off the grill. Let me let him in. Hey, man.
What's going on, Stone?
Hey, welcome to the commentary. How you doing?
Not bad. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I mean, this has actually been going better than I thought because I'm actually supremely tired and I didn't do enough research on this movie, unfortunately. Yeah. But it's actually going quite well. Have you seen this movie before?
I have many years ago. I was like a junior in high school, I believe.
Me too. Yeah, I said that at the I said that at the beginning of the commentary that I haven't seen it since junior high, pretty much. But yeah, there were images that stuck in my brain. Was that the same way for you?
Oh, for sure. And on top of that, I'm a big Misfits fan. And then Jerry Only apparently loves us because you mentioned Devil's Reign too. That's the name of the last album they put out. So like he's a lot. Anything that he wrote is a lot of the 60s and 70s, 50s even as well. Kind of B movie stuff and Mars Attacks kind of stuff like that. So that's what kind of got me to check it out, and plus it's Vincent Price. It's really hard to go wrong there. But
oh, absolutely. Would you put this in Vincent Price's, say, top 5, maybe?
I probably would. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, yeah.
They're really well done. I know you spoke about the was it the director, I believe, being like a that. I'm tired too, man. I've been streaming all damn day.
I know.
But
I know.
so like the words are escaping me. But
Robert
it's got
Fuest.
yeah, it's got more of a '60s vibe to me, color wise.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It is only 71, but I mean, it looks terrific. I actually did for that Arrow's Easter sale. I picked up Abominable Dr. Phibes and Dr. Phibes Rises Again.
Oh, you got the limited edition then.
I'm not sure, but it was just whatever was there for the Easter sale there for Arrow. So hey, if it's a limited edition, that's cool by me. But
do you know what the bonus features are on those real quick? Or I mean, do you have it within like hand reach or?
Give me 2 seconds.
Oh no, take your time. Take your time. Seriously. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, Peter Jeffrey here. I know him best from the Mick Travis trilogy, which of course includes If, A Lucky Man, and Britannia Hospital. If you love Malcolm McDowell, those are must-see movies. I actually put them even. Well, I don't want to say above A Clockwork Orange, but if you love Malcolm McDowell and A Clockwork Orange, those are definitely must-see movies right there. Using a blowtorch. So, of course, now they're investigating who is killing these doctors, and they found an amulet that hopefully will lead them to Dr. Phibes here. And let me just show everyone real quick. I'm watching this off the grill. He's going to bring his limited edition of which was released in the UK. But I have this Scream Factory Vincent Price collection, which just came out in October, which includes The Pit and the Pendulum, The Mask of the Red Death, The Haunted Palace, The Fall of the House of Usher, Witchfinder General, aka the Conqueror Worm, and then finally the Abominable Dr. Phibes. And as you can see right there, there's a wealth of bonus features there. Pretty much all of them have commentaries and everything. So this was a very, very nice Scream Factory set that I picked up. And, there's a booklet as well with pictures and everything. Very nice tribute to Vincent Price, I must say myself.
That was the Scream Factory release?
This is the Scream Factory release from October of last year, and it's really nice. It is very, very nice.
It looks nice.
Very nice, yes.
But,
now see, and what bonus features do those have? Just real quick.
Audio commentary with director Robert Fuest. How do you say that? I'm stupid. I'm dumb.
I heard the commentary. I think it's Fuest.
Fuest? Okay, Robert Fuest.
Yeah.
Audio commentary by the creator of Dr. Phibes, William Goldstein, Dr. Phibes and the Gentleman, The League of Gentlemen, fondly recall a British horror classic, and then reversible sleeve.
Oh wow! Okay.
So that's for that one. Yeah, their art. I don't know. Most of these places they put their art out, and it's kind of lame to me. But
oh yeah, that's the theatrical art. Yeah, I mean, I like this artwork too. I mean, especially like this artwork. But yeah, this particular release has 3 audio commentaries. Oh, nice.
So if I got my doesn't pick up the green, unfortunately, but it's funny. It says the authorities will not permit this face to be shown on advertisements. So it's got like a fake sticker over his face. It's kind of cool. Always looking for a gimmick back then, And then on Rises Again, audio commentary by critic and author Tim Lucas. Daughter of Phibes, Victoria Price discusses Vincent Price's career. The Doctor Will See You Now, an interview with Vincent Price's biographer, David Delval. And a theatrical trailer.
In fact, as a matter of fact, David DeVal actually wrote the actually wrote the insert for this. You can see his name right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just read this brief paragraph real quick. The Abominable Dr. Phibes is a very special film since it represents the actor at the zenith of his career, both as an icon of the horror genre and as a long-standing villain of cinema, going back to his contract days at Universal and 20th Century Fox. The character of Anton Phibes certainly owes a tip of the hat to scar genius Professor Jared from House of Wax, at least in visage at any rate. This film was promoted as Vincent's 100th film, which it was not, just to make it clear. But it did represent... Oh, I'm almost done. But it did represent the actor's life at AIP for that, and it is a crown jewel in both his career as well as AIP's catalog of remarkable films. So, yeah, this actually it wasn't his 100th film, but they wanted to promote it as such. I don't know what the exact.
I was going to ask you, how far off of 100 was that?
I do not know. I think he's made more than 100 films, to be perfectly honest. I mean, oh man, I've probably seen about 7 out of his entire filmography, sadly. But, what is your favorite Vincent Price movie?
This one's up there. Like I said, I mean, it's just kind of got, I caught it at the right time, the right kind of feel. It pulls into my music taste as well, kind of. But this one, I would say, The House on Haunted Hill. That's campy. It's fun,
yes, yes, and way better than the remake.
Way better, but I like the remake.
A lot of people did. I
think I benefit from having seen the remake first.
Yes, I understand that. I understand that completely.
But
the interesting thing is a lot of people complain about remakes, but you know what? Even with the worst remakes, there's always one benefit. It'll make you. It will inspire you to check out the original.
Absolutely.
I got to give them that. I definitely have to give them that. Oh, okay. Now here we have here's Dr. Vesalius, played by the great actor Joseph Cotton, who he had done classics like The Philadelphia Story, but he's actually most well known for his collaborations with Orson Welles, which include, of course, Citizen Kane and The Third Man. And the same year that The Third Man came out in 1949, he actually won the Volpe Cup for Best Actor for his work in The Portrait of Jenny. So he has a very, very long, distinguished career on the stage and screen, and is very good here. But I mean, what's interesting is that he was grumbling during the production a lot of times because of the fact he had to remember his lines, while Vincent Price had the guarantee of having his entire dialogue dubbed in post. So he really grumbled about that. Really grumbled. I think they called it Phibes. They're talking about his wife, who was born in 1893. Now, you know who plays his wife in the pictures, right?
I don't.
Well, there she is. That's Carolyn Monroe, cult actress Carolyn Monroe, the British actress who I guess she's most well known for The Golden Voyage of Sinbad, where she has a unforgettable gold outfit, if I remember correctly, in that one. Yeah, she was, I think, a sex symbol at the time. Very gorgeous woman.
I'd say she's a pretty lady for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Interestingly enough, there was a movie that came out in 1975. It was released in England as I Don't Want to Be Born, which I love that title, but it was re-released in the States as The Devil Within Her. And it stars Joan Collins as a woman that's about to give birth to a baby that is possessed by basically a dwarf cursed it. Joan Collins plays a stripper. And when she was a stripper, she rejected the advances of this dwarf who decided to put a curse on her baby. And her doctor is played by Donald Pleasance. And the opening is so hilarious because she's trying to give birth, and yet she looks like she's having an orgasm. And Donald Pleasance just says all deadpan, like, this child doesn't want to be born.
That's what is this movie? I gotta watch this.
Oh yeah, it's called in the States it was known as The Devil Within Her, but it was in England, I preferred the original title, which was "I Don't Want to Be Born," and it's just there's a nun that comes in the movie that tries to get the demon out of him, and keeps on saying, "I believe this baby is possessed by the devil." That's how she pronounced it. The devil. The devil. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out just because it's so hilariously bad. And of course, Donald Pleasance, he's a doctor that's so unalarmed by the tiniest things, like the baby actually having fingernails and scratching Joan Collins's face. It's quite something to see.
Any movie with Donald Pleasance is immediately it ups the watchability factor.
100%. As a matter of fact, before the end of the month, I will be doing another audio commentary for a Donald Pleasance movie called Wake and Fright. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Oh, this is an Australian movie that came out in 1971, lost for 40 years. It's from the director of First Blood. Okay. And it's about a school teacher. It's about a school teacher that winds up in this dusty town in the middle of the outback. He starts drinking beer, and then he starts gambling and loses all his money. And he wakes up like in this shack in the middle of the outback. And Donald Pleasance, he comes out, no shirt on, and like gives him a beer and some kangaroo meat, and tells him, "Yeah, we're gonna go on a kangaroo hunt." What? And apparently this movie is infamous for this kangaroo hunt because it was so graphic and so traumatizing that the producer actually fainted.
Wow.
Yeah, this kangaroo hunt is what this movie is famous for. And just real quick, the director, of course, Ted Kotcheff, who did First Blood, he calls himself a vegetarian, and considers himself a vegetarian, and they included the kangaroo hunt uncut because they consulted the animal welfare organizations in Australia and the United Kingdom, and they said, and they gave full they essentially said, yes, present everything uncut because people need to be educated on this. That Australians, they just, some of them just get drunk and start shooting kangaroos. It's devastating. If you're a animal lover, it's actually very hard to watch. But, absolutely. But we're going to be doing that later. You need to check that out. It's called Wake and Fright.
Listen, anything. Yeah. Okay. Like you said, like I said, rather, Donald Pleasance, is a go.
Oh yes.
Kangaroo hunting.
Yes.
I'm in.
I mean, it gets crazy. It totally gets crazy. And even though it's more of a psychological thriller than a horror movie, like my lady friend said the other night when I showed it to her, this really does play like a nightmare. It really does play like the worst nightmare you could have, like waking up in the middle of the desert with no money. You don't have no idea where you are, and this guy with a shirt off, gives you a 2-day-old beer and says, "Yeah, we're gonna go on a kangaroo hunt, mate." Whoa, what happened? Okay, is he smoking a cigarette? Is this
right? I love all this, the robot orchestra here.
The robot orchestra. It's crazy. Just crazy stuff. Now, the actress I was talking about earlier, Virginia North, who is sweeping here, that's Dr. Phibes' assistant, she doesn't have a single word of dialogue in the whole movie. And in the original script, there was a lot more in there of Dr. Phibes abusing her, which makes a lot more sense. I mean, physically and physically and psychologically abusing her, which makes a lot of sense as to why she doesn't have a word in the whole movie.
Yeah, that's it's probably hard for them to kind of fit that in there back in 71.
Yeah. And of course, this is England. Of course, they had a different rating system than we do at the time. They were a bit more, uptight, just a little bit. Well, I mean, the thing is, Now, when I first saw this, in junior high, I wasn't like traumatized by this movie or anything, but it was just certain images, like the bats on the bed and the organ, that just they stuck with me all this time. Okay, now this death right here is the I believe this is the ice. This is the thunderstorm of hail and fire, and the hail is basically this ice that got shot at him or whatever.
That's
But there's like 9 deaths in this movie. I'm not going to say what the 10th death is, of course, but
right.
All taken from the book of Exodus in the Bible, the 10 plagues of Egypt. Yeah. See, there you go. It's like an ice machine. It just froze him to death. There's actually some pretty creative kills in this movie.
There's creative, especially 71. It's not like Savini was around, or that type of guy. So I think people think the effects were corny and cheesy until he came around, but this is proof. Everyone, like you said at the beginning, I heard you before I got on, the Bat Death, the makeup looks great.
Oh, it's excellent. Excellent. This is his son Lem, who of course is going to be kidnapped later by Dr. Phibes. They're playing chess here. Are you a fan of chess?
Oh no.
No good. My father taught me chess when I was young.
Okay.
It's not for everybody. It's like opera. It's not for everybody.
Yeah, I never had anyone teach me, and I just always, my friends would play, and I just get smoked. So I just tapped out early on.
Okay, so this Vincent Price collection, as you can see, it has Pit and the Pendulum, Mask of the Red Death, The Haunted Palace, Witchfinder General, and Fall of the House of Usher. So it has 4 poet adaptations on this one set. I thought, that's a hell of a deal right there.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben Grimm just entered the chat.
Hey, what's going on, Ben?
How you doing, Ben? Yeah. Ben, just to let you know, if you need to catch up, we are at timestamp 43:12. And there is a copy of the movie on YouTube if you want to jump in and everything.
Yeah, I think that leaks in the chat there, Ben.
Long time no see. Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of funny, Stone. I saw you were doing this, and for a brief minute, I'm like, well, I'll piggyback off him. I'll do the sequel right after. And then kind of, I heard you say earlier, I just did not do enough research. I didn't get a chance to watch, run through it ahead of time. And just like, plus it'd be like 2 a.m. So we'll just go with the one.
The commentary I'm doing next Monday night will be at 11 p.m. So it'll be a little bit earlier, but I guess I could have made this commentary earlier. The weird thing is, of course, I work from 3:30 to midnight in Manhattan. Yeah. So, a lot of these commentaries I'll be doing at 1 a.m. But, there's actually quite a number of people that are up and online at that time.
Most especially of the community. The horror community, a bunch of freaks like me.
Now, like I said, the majority of this film was shot at Elstree Studios in London, which is, of course, where Superman was shot, James Bond films as well. And here they are at Highgate Cemetery, which is one of the few external sequences here. Yep. Let's see. Like I said, this being set in the 1920s, a lot of the sets are very 1920s in scale and scope and design. And, of course, they incorporate a lot of the music from the 20s as well. I believe, if I wrote this down here, maybe not. But, yeah, there's a lot of period music and period detail that is overflowing in this movie. So even if you're not a fan of horror movies, if you're a fan of just period pieces, this is also something very much to see.
Yeah, there's a lot to offer. I mean, like, it's not like you said, it's not like a straight horror. It's not, it's kind of got black comedy elements to it. And here's the thing. I mean, it's beautifully shot. Like, everything is gorgeous on this movie. They get
absolutely.
The colors are, magnificent.
Although I do think that was kind of an awkward edit, because she hands him the flowers and he starts to scent with the organ, and then the very next shot you see her facing the opposite way with her hands in the air. Like, okay, where's the shot of her turning around?
Right.
Yeah. 1921. So yeah, they found the coffins of his wife. There was actually quite a few actors that returned for the sequel, which I don't think I've ever seen Dr. Phibes Rise Again. I mean, do you think it's just as good as the original? What do you think of the sequel?
Can I tell you something? I
Sure.
bought this from Arrow for just to because I hadn't seen it. I got the Abominable Dr. Phibes back when Netflix was still just sending DVDs.
Oh, wow.
Like, so there was no streaming yet. I mean, so, and they didn't have, which was odd to me, that they didn't have the sequel, because at that time, I think all it was that MGM, were they doing like the double feature? And they only had the one. They only had the first one. So I've never seen the sequel. And with that Arrow sale, I'm such a backlog of, stuff I've bought and still have to watch. But
well, like I said, these two films were released by American International Pictures, which MGM later got the rights to and everything. Yeah. When I think of AIP, for some reason, when I think of them, the first thing that comes to mind are the two Blackula movies that came out in the early 70s. Did you know that Blackula, starring William Marshall, was the very first horror film to win the Saturn Award for Best Horror?
Really?
That was a little shocking to me.
Yeah.
That was a little shocking.
What a name. Victoria Regina.
Yes. And nobody's in there. Exactly. Carolyn Monroe. I'll just read this other thing real quick in this book. Carolyn Monroe, who plays Phibes' dead wife in the film, is really representing all the dead wives in Vincent Price films for the past 4 decades. Her name in the film is Victoria, as in his own daughter, as well as an homage to his Broadway debut as Prince Albert in Victoria Regina back in the early 30s. Carolyn recalled this about filming Dr. Phibes. Quote, "I loved working with Vincent, even though I had no dialogue and had to remain motionless in a glass coffin. Vincent would go out of his way to keep me from feeling closed in, as we were filming in a very confined space, to say the least. Vincent would carry on a conversation with anyone on any subject. He was wonderful to know. I just wish we could have made more films together." Unquote. Yeah. And like I said, if any of you are interested in buying this film, I mean, whether you get the limited edition from the UK, which you have, or the Vincent Price collection, I mean, either way, you're going to get plenty for your buck. I'll say that.
Absolutely. I mean,
absolutely.
Couple different. I mean, I don't know. Some people don't really care. Like, I know Lauren is not a guy that gives much of a, trying to keep the language nice. He doesn't really care about special features.
Yeah.
But I love him. I mean, the more features, the better. For me, obviously, the picture's got to look good too. But
absolutely.
If you can help me watch it a couple times in a row with different commentary tracks, I'm definitely game for that. So that and featurettes, all that stuff. That's my wheelhouse. That's what I like.
Me too. I go crazy over bonus features. I just go crazy. The gentleman that I'm doing a commentary for next week for Escape from the Planet of the Apes, he did a commentary for, of all things, if I can find it here, Exorcist 2, The Heretic. And the director complimented him after that commentary and said, look, you were the only one that actually got it.
No kidding.
Yeah. And his first film that he ever saw in the theaters was Escape from the Planet of the Apes, and he'll be joining me next Monday night. So
that's nice.
Very, very excited for that. Are you a Planet of the Apes fan?
I've not seen remakes, sequels, originals, nothing. That's something I've not ventured into.
I became a Planet. Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying, and I felt a little nervous the last couple of years to even try after Roseanne's little incident with, Babe got her fired from the show. So I'm like, I'll watch the Planet of the Apes movies for a while.
I'll be perfectly honest. I've never been a Roseanne fan. I mean, the show,
really?
I remember watching the show and remember laughing, but I just don't like her. I've never liked Roseanne Barr.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people say that. I love her. I grew up on the show.
Cool. That's cool.
But I could see. I mean, look, she's screechy and loud, and now she's just screaming shit while she's supposedly on Ambien. But
she blamed Ambien.
Right.
Right. She blamed Ambien of all things. Oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, here's the collector's edition from Scream Factory of Exorcist 2.
Oh wow.
And as you can see, commentary by Scott Michael Boscow. He's going to be the one joining me next week. He also did commentaries for all 3 Omen movies.
Really? For the Scream Factory?
Yes. Yeah, he's very well versed in those films. I mean, he saw them when they came out and everything. And I've never seen the Omen movies, but I'm almost willing to buy that set and finally watch them. So.
Yeah. I don't have the Scream Factory set. It's just, I guess, whatever studio owns it, put it out. The Blu-ray set from a couple years ago. It's a black set. It's crappily constructed. It just smushes in with, but it's got all the original ones and the remake, I believe. So.
Oh, okay.
If you recall, it came out on June 6, 2006. Woo.
Okay, now here is the death by rats. They use rats in the film, but in reality, the plague was actually wild animals or flies. And so I guess they decided to use rats, which I don't know.
Well, given that it's England, I mean, rats, the bubonic plague, I think that's probably, just kind of symbolism.
You may be right.
Oh, yeah, rats are black plague. Jesus, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Oh, well, the red eyes. That's pretty cool. Oh, you know what? This actually came out the same year as Willard.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, the famous rat horror movie. Yeah, that's crazy. That is insane right there. They're doing the same thing the bats did, which is basically just chop all over the face, and they just applied the same makeup. But that's good makeup, though. That's really good makeup. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. You missed that. Just chewing on some flesh.
Yeah, it looks like Vincent Price was having a ball. I mean, I can tell from this performance he was having the time of his life, man. I mean, he laughed so often that the makeup would get ruined.
Mm-hmm. His makeup looks like they did a pretty decent job of. I don't know how much of a spoiler it is, but making it look like it's not his face, even though he's not wearing a mask. But.
A couple of the oil seals have gone. I hate to go silent. I think that's pretty much all I have. I mean, almost, but how much? Actually, how much more is left here? Let's see. Oh, we're now 55 minutes in. Yeah. Okay.
40 minutes.
Just 30. 40 minutes to go. Yeah, less than 40 minutes. Are you in the habit of contradicting your superiors, Bream? Now, see, I mean, after a while, they decide to just protect the head doctor instead of just worried about who's been killing all these doctors. But
right.
Yeah. This is gorgeous right here. Oh, check out that painting. Somebody painted that.
Yeah.
The Casino de Monte Carlo. It's pretty obvious here. He's reenacting, moments in his life that he shared with his wife. I think it's pretty obvious here. But man, isn't that a gorgeous set?
It really is.
Oh, yes.
Like you said, I mean, back in 71, so someone hand painted that. That was...
Somebody hand painted that. It's incredible. Just incredible. What do you do that for? Here again, she has not a single word of dialogue. She's just mute through the whole thing. And they start dancing. Now, see, a lot of people like House of Wax, but from 1953. But to be perfectly honest, I mean, my favorite of those films is still Mystery of the Wax Museum from 1933, which we were talking earlier about Lorne, how he doesn't care for bonus features and whatnot. But he is like such a massive Fay Wray fan. Yeah. I'm like, I got to give him the Blu-ray that came out, which was a $350,000 restoration job by Warner Archive and the George Lucas Film Foundation and wow. I think AFI or one of those. Very expensive restoration and 2 commentaries, 2 featurettes. I'm like, oh, Lauren's got to appreciate this, and he's like, oh yeah, I can replace my VHS now. Yeah. Yeah. If you're a hardcore Fay Wray fan, just get the best you can get.
Sure.
Man, seriously. Have the King Kong Blu-ray, have the Dr. X Blu-ray, and have the Mystery of the Wax Museum Blu-ray. Did you like the House of Wax movie from 2005 with Paris Hilton?
I didn't at the time. I keep meaning to go back and watch it because I didn't like it at the time because of Paris Hilton. Like I just like, she gets it, but the fact that she's in it just like it frustrated me. And that was at the time where all the remakes started being like CW actors just hey, you're not busy, come film a scene, but a lot of people praise it now as being one of the better remakes from that kind of cycle. So
yeah, and that's why that's why I'm tempted to check it out now. But that's an interesting remake because the original came out over 50 years before. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's something that if you're going to remake that, okay, 50 years have passed.
Yeah, 50 years have passed. Yeah.
Like, oh, it's been 10 years. Let's do it again. Let's make another Total Recall. Why?
There's only one possible connection between the 2 films, and I don't know for sure if it was an intentional, but the sculptor in the 2005 movie is actually named Vincent. Intentional or not intentional?
That's got to be. I think because the writers generally have a good idea. They'll put stuff in there like that, and then it's usually the director or one of the producers go, "Now get that out of there."
I just wish they would throw a couple more things in there for classic buffs, just to say, "Oh yeah," you don't have to go overboard with them.
No,
you don't.
because then it's like, well, you're not even you're just doing the same movie again.
Pretty much, yeah. And what's the point of that when you have 2 other versions already? Yeah. Well, they took a lot of pictures of Carolyn Monroe for this, and a lot of her pictures appear in the sequel too.
I think the sequel, I believe the sequel takes place in Egypt, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that makes sense. the plagues of Egypt and everything. Yeah, makes perfect sense. Let's see, so every section has the film's artwork. Oh yeah, and yeah. This is at the end. I'll just show this real quick for everybody. Check that out. That is really, really cool.
Yeah,
really cool.
Do you know, is this out of print?
No, it just came out October of last year.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember how much I paid for it. Check that out real quick. It's a Price collection. You can get it for $45, but considering everything that's on here, I'd say that's reasonable.
I mean, it's 6 movies, so right off the bat, I mean, you're getting your money's worth, I'd say. Plus, I hear you say it's loaded with features too, right?
Commentaries on all the films, multiple commentaries,
and that's always my problem with buying like collections, is that they're all just here's the movie.
Yeah. So, well, hell, Pit and the Pendulum and Mask of the Red Death. I mean, Roger Corman does commentaries for both.
No kidding. Yeah,
Roger Corman himself.
That. Yeah, definitely grabbing that then.
Yeah, and actually, everything you could imagine. There's multiple cuts, multiple commentaries for all of these. That's amazing. That's just amazing. Oh, Brussels sprouts. You know what? This is a strangely sexy costume right here. See-through blouse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty kinky.
I kind of like it. There's something sexy about her not talking either.
Yeah, she doesn't really emote much either, to be perfectly honest. Like, who wants to try my Brussels sprout soup here?
Where are they coming from?
I don't know, to be perfectly honest. Maybe his garden somewhere. Like, no, this one's all right. Screw this one. Oh, yummy.
Yeah, you gotta love some boiling green stuff.
Boiling greens.
Bubbling green stuff.
Is it just you and me, or is there anybody else left? I mean, I don't know if Ben Grimm's still hanging around, or I think Ging left a while ago.
Yeah, she likes to pop in just to say hello.
That's cool, though. That's cool. She gave me a thumbs up on my stream, so I got to give her credit.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And she's definitely good about that.
She's very cool. Yeah, she's very, very cool.
Cliff Booth is still here with us.
Oh, still listening? Yeah. Are you enjoying the movie, Cliff? Let us know. Let us know anything that you want to tell us about the film, and I'll be sure to let it out there on this commentary. Yeah. I mean, just the lamp above his head is just cool to look at. I mean, yeah, this definitely does keep your attention.
I keep forgetting that it's set in the 20s. I'm like, they didn't dress like that. Like the nurses didn't dress like that. But yeah, probably in the 20s, I would say so. But not the 70s, even in England.
Even in England, you don't think so? I've seen those
in the 20s, yes. But like I said, I keep forgetting that this takes place in the 20s. In the 70s.
Yeah. I'll be perfect. Those top uniforms, though, those are 20s. Those are definitely 20s. That's the type of the Keystone Cop type uniforms. Well, I keep thinking of Mary Poppins, which was set in 1910. And that's what the constable looked like in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
What he was wearing.
Uh-oh.
Yep. This last act in this movie, things get a little insane, for sure. Oh, lots of green on this set. This is like
Yeah.
all the Brussels sprouts, and now we have all these green balls. I mean, wow. They were overdosing on green here. They were really overdosing on it. Now, see, this is the one death which I can't necessarily figure out which one it is according to this list. Where he just drops all this green goo on this woman, and then the locust one. That's right. Yeah, he puts the locust down there, and they suck all this green stuff off of her. God, what a horrible way to go, right? Like I said, not quite as many locusts as they used in Exorcist 2, but
Right.
yeah. Are you all right with Exorcist 2? I don't think it's awful, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's not like everyone says, it's one of the worst movies ever made. And like, I don't. It's not the original. Like,
yeah, of course.
For someone to claim that it's even comes close is crazy, but it's not bad by it. I don't think by any means. It's.
I think it gets way too much hate.
Yeah,
way too much hate. And I'm not saying that the first film is overrated. As a matter of fact, I do think the first film is a masterpiece, even though I don't personally love it. So it's not even my favorite Linda Blair performance, to be perfectly honest. You know what blows my mind is that Linda Blair, she was nominated for Best Actress for The Exorcist. She lost to somebody younger than her. Not a joke.
That's crazy.
Like, she lost the Oscar to Tatum O'Neal for Paper Moon.
Oh. Yeah,
and of course
that's
where her and her father, Ryan O'Neal, they're con artists in the 20s during the Great Depression, or the 30s rather. And her most famous line in that is where they're being held by these bootleggers. And she just gets up and tells her father, "Dad, I need to go to the shit house." That's her most famous line in that movie. I love Paper Moon. It's a lovely black and white film from the 70s, directed by Peter Bogdanovich. But yeah, she lost to somebody younger than her. How would you feel?
I mean,
like, damn.
It's
talk about unlucky.
Yeah. But I mean, think about the actors in their 20s and 30s. It's like, Jesus, why am I doing this then? Here it comes.
Ugh. What do you think this? Let me look real quick and let me double check what exactly this stuff is, because
is this what he was making with the Brussels sprouts?
Brussels sprouts, yeah. I guess the locusts are attracted to it.
Oh boy, I saw a movie that had a lady look like that, something similar to that the other night. It was a private time movie, and it wasn't green.
Oh, there you go.
It's covered.
There's the amulet. And now I think we're about to see the locusts.
I feel like that's something you don't see too much nowadays. Amulets in movies. Or locusts either, you're right.
They are creepy. They are creepy.
Yeah.
My babies. Just an update for everybody in the chat. We are now approximately 1 hour and 10 minutes in. So 24 minutes left to go. I'm so glad you came on, man, because I didn't know if I was going to be able to get through this. And
like I said,
you really provided support, and I gratefully appreciate it, dude.
No problem, man. I like this movie, So
I just wish I was more of an expert on it. But then again, I mean, how much can you say in a 94-minute movie? And as I said, if you really want a professional commentary, they're on the Blu-ray.
That's the couple that I've done. That's kind of how I've approached it. Like, if there's some stuff that I know, I'll throw it out there. But mostly, I'm just trying to have a good time and watch it, and try to entertain.
Oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
But
and I have a lot of fun with the commentaries, like we did for the old Sausage Factory, like we did the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, and we would go off on other tangents, but we would always go back to the movie.
Right. And I mean, I've taken a little cue from that, but I've tried to stay on topic because listen, I love the Sausage Factory. I had a lot of fun, but you get halfway through the movie, it's like, hey, how many McGriddles can you eat at once? It's like, all right.
I'll never forget what Kristen Hanna texted or put in a chat one time. If the Sausage Factory still haunts you, you're not alone. Take off on the Friday 5 tagline. And don't get me wrong, I'm having a blast on Region Free, but the only thing that slightly frustrates me is that the whole purpose of Region Free was to expand outside of the horror genre, and it just seems like all the videos that they make are just horror reviews, which is fine. It's fine. I'm not complaining, but maybe I was just personally disappointed because nobody made a review of The Deep that I did a few weeks ago. But whatever. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I mean, it's still in the stream for anybody who wants to see it. So no reason.
That's what I thought. I thought kind of the idea was to split the whole show up. For the non patrons. So you see everything eventually over whatever the span between shows is. But
oh, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I thought that's a good idea. Because I mean, sometimes maybe you only care about one thing if someone's talking about that given show. You can grab it instead of having to sit through the whole show,
Well, they had a model airplane, one that was fine before.
Yeah.
Oh, so much green.
It is.
Are they going to answer? No. Hello.
Open it.
Open it. Yeah. Slowly. Slowly. Okay. We don't know for sure. Oh my God.
Wow.
What an elaborate, messed up death that is. Oh.
That's crazy.
That is insane right there. But no gore. That's the thing. No gore. Now, here's the interesting thing. Would you consider this a slasher movie? Do you think it's possible?
I mean, listen, there are some people that like to classify like Friday Part 5 as like a giallo. So, I mean, I'd say, I could call this like a proto slasher for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of one guy picking people off. I mean, it doesn't have the gore that most slashers do, but is that necessarily a requisite?
Friday 2 was directly inspired by, I think, Bay of Blood?
Yeah.
Which, of course,
is... No, we never saw it. We had no idea. Okay. Sure you did.
Oh, I will be doing a commentary on Bay of Blood this year because that came out in 1971.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I've been doing since I've only done 2 so far, but I would look if I did Friday 2 on its anniversary this year. I did The Burning last Sunday.
Oh wow, yeah. I saw The Burning for the first time last year.
Me too. I think it's fine. It's one of them. It's one of the slashers that came out in 1981. But
my whole thing is, I didn't find it boring, and the last third, there's some really creative stuff in there.
Yeah.
Really creative stuff. But there's two things that bugged me. I don't think there's a single memorable character in the whole movie.
I mean, there's Costanza, but it's only because he's Costanza. Nothing he does is memorable. I'll agree with you.
And of course, the other thing that bothers me is that, like, Harvey Weinstein was, his name was all over that shit.
Oh, definitely. And Holly Hunter seemingly gets the Weinstein treatment. And of course, she caves in because it's 81, but it's like, like in hindsight, that's a little like, ooh, I don't like that.
I mean, I would support a remake. I would support any remake of that doesn't have Weinstein's name on it. So,
for sure,
I didn't hate it. I was glad I watched it. I gave it my full attention, but it's like, I don't want to see this again.
Because like you said, I mean, it's slow. The last third does pick up. It's got some good stuff in it.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
Savini gets to start playing at that point.
Oh, yes.
You get to see his handiwork. Fingers get chopped off. My biggest gripe with it, though, is that there's like 6 people, like 6 of the campers, Costanza included, that just like, all right, we survived. I don't know. Like, why?
This is one of my favorite slashers, and it just came out on Blu-ray today. I can't wait to pick it up.
As it was strange.
Can't wait to pick that up. I'm sorry too, Trout. Oh, there goes Inspector Trout. Look at these crazy costumes that she wears. It's so insane.
See, it's almost
yeah, go ahead.
I wish, like, as you said, like they kept in some of the abuse. Not physical. I don't need to see the physical, but like, just some of the psychological stuff. And I get it. It's the UK in the 70s. Yeah, they were uptight, as we said before. But and also, I feel like some of that abuse is making her put these costumes on. You will wear it.
It makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. I don't know if his wife wore these costumes or whatnot, or maybe this is just all like in a warped sense of cosplay for him or whatever. Yeah,
I mean, they evoke like a little bit of like Egyptian kind of like the hieroglyph kind of stuff, especially
there you go. The hieroglyphs on the amulets and everything. It goes along with that. And
the jewelry is the word I was trying to get out, and I couldn't. So I'm stupid.
Yeah. It's all good, man. It's all good. Oh, man. So just 16 more minutes to go. Approximately 16 minutes left.
We're ramping up.
And here we have this elaborate finale here. Oh, man. That set is just remarkable. Even if the viewer, finds it makes no sense, it's still eye-popping.
Yeah. Yes.
It still holds your attention. Like you feel like you have to look at everything on the screen. Oh, it's just amazing.
Like the ornamentation on that door, like it's impressive.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But I was going to mention real quick. Let me just bring this up real quick. I made a list of a bunch of movies that I want to do, like 50th anniversary commentaries. And it's not a long list. I only like cherry picked movies, but bring that up right here just real quick. Because I've kind of run out of things to say for Abominable Dr. Phibes. But, okay. We're going to do Escape from the Planet of the Apes and Wake in Fright for May. For June, I want to do the Velvet Vampire, which is actually a rare movie directed by a woman, a rare horror film at that time directed by a woman. And Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory for its 50th anniversary, and we're going to get that 50 years.
Man.
And we're going to get that 4K release, which I'm seriously considering getting.
Excellent. Yeah,
for
I think
that.
I'll have to pick that up. That's got to look incredible in 4K.
Oh, I can only imagine. But July, I will be doing Ken Russell's The Devils, which I've never seen before, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. And also the Australian movie Walkabout in July. In August, I got The Mega Man with Charlton Heston and The Love Machine. In September, I have A Bay of Blood, which I mentioned earlier, as well as Desperate Characters, which is a movie with Shirley MacLaine I'm actually a huge fan of that nobody remembers, but so I got to do that. October, The French Connection and The Last Picture Show, two very famous films from that year. November, I have Fiddler on the Roof, which I've never seen, but somebody insisted you have to see it. You have to see it. So I put that there. It's the only one I have for November. So, and then finally, December, I got quite a few here, which I could probably pack in a month. But A Clockwork Orange, Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, of course. Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Okay.
The Decameron, which I own on Blu-ray. And Harold and Maude, and another Australian movie called Stork. Oh, and finally, the James Bond film Diamonds Are Forever. I mean, that was the first James Bond film I ever saw.
I've never seen a James Bond movie. Any.
You've never, ever seen a James Bond movie?
None of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I don't like Pierce Brosnan, and that was the one. Like growing up, he was the guy, and I'm like, ugh.
I don't
James
blame
Bond's
you.
dumb. Oh. And then, like, kind of after,
I got to see The Devils at the Egyptian Theater in L.A. Crazy film. Yeah, I've heard it's crazy. I've heard it's definitely crazy. I mean, it was not really critically that high on, but it's definitely looks fascinating. I have to check it out. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so looking forward to that. Oh, yeah, it'll take 6 minutes. You know what? The first time not the first time, but rewatching this whole elaborate thing where they got to get the key from, it's like near his heart and they got to surgically remove it and everything. This almost reminds me of like a cliffhanger from an old Batman episode from the 60s. It's just that kind of elaborate.
You got the Eggman right there,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, pandemic mask. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this reminded me of like a cliffhanger from like a Batman episode.
Yeah.
And ironically enough, Vincent Price was a Batman villain. Do you remember who he played?
The Eggman, I believe. I can't. Is that the Egghead? Yeah, excuse me.
Egghead. Yeah, Egghead. Pardon. Yeah, one of the best villains on the series, I think. Oh, I love this. I read this story one time because I'm a huge fan of that show. That apparently at the end of the episode there was this massive egg fight where everybody was like throwing eggs at each other during the climactic pow fight and everything. And they totally dumped a shitload of eggs on Burt Ward, who plays Robin. Can you imagine being on that set during this giant egg fight?
Yeah, it'd be even great if you found out that Bert was like, had some kind of like egg phobia.
Yeah.
Just exactly. Deal with it, Bert.
Robin, you have some egg splaining to do. You would always like put the egg in front of that. Something else I want to look at here just real quick. Getting in the final stretch of the movie here. Okay. There's one more thing in this book I could read real quick. Dr. Phibes will always be remembered for its stylish sets and costumes, very much in the Art Deco manner, by what Price referred to as, quote, that madman of a director, Robert Fuest, who became very well known in Britain for his work on the hit series The Avengers. Oh, okay, there you go. The late director's last horror film would turn out to be The Devil's Reign, which mentioned earlier. Dr. Phibes was an elegant and witty horror send-up, which in a way would reference the work to come. Vincent would later marry the very witty Coral Brown, and through her guidance find his way back to the theater, impersonating the wittiest man that ever lived, Oscar Wilde. Yeah. A few remaining minutes, all you have. See, that's what this plays exactly like a Batman cliffhanger. It's like you got 6 minutes.
Really
Get out of this elaborate.
I mean, from what I know about like James Bond, from like
there goes the mask.
That's beautiful.
There it is. There's the full reveal. Which actually, I mentioned Mystery of the Wax Museum earlier. That's another one where the face just becomes completely off, almost like a mask, and he looks totally deformed and disfigured. Very similar to this. Oh, there goes some of the other faces. In the beginning, he was wearing a black robe, and now he's wearing a white robe. Or I guess almond, I guess you could say. Oh, no! They had to destroy the painting? They just
shame. That's a damn shame.
They could have, yeah. You got to see the Batman episode with Liberace. Oh, yes. He plays twins, one of which is supposed to be a street tough. It's very amusing to watch Liberace act tough. Exactly. The only thing I remember about that Liberace episode is that it had some very hot women in it from the 60s that I recognized. Yeah.
So that I don't know, most of what I know James Bond and the 60s Batman is like, Simpsons references. So there's an episode of The Simpsons. They have Radioactive Man, the movie. But they show how it's campy. It's like the Boy Scout was like the villain. And that kind of sounds like what they're doing with Liberace there. Get them, boys.
You got the key. Thank goodness. 30 seconds. Oh, man. The blood, the block prevent the going in the locket first. Oh, you can save him. A golden axe or hatchet. Oh. Death of firstborn. That's what, of course, the sun is supposed to represent the death of the firstborn. Yeah. So, I think we covered them all. Turning water to blood, frogs, bats, rats, livestock, bees for the boils, hail, which was the ice, locusts, and then, of course, the very last one will be darkness for 3 days. Yep. God, that's just that. Oh. That whole scene is, talk about just every nook and cranny. There's something to look at.
Yeah.
Every nook and cranny. Wow. Here comes the organ again. The odd thing is that, of course, they mentioned House of Wax, as being an interesting comparison. I don't know. I was thinking of Phantom of the Opera.
Yeah, absolutely.
For some reason. Yeah, he has the masks, the masks,
the organ.
Yes. Definitely thinking of the Phantom of the Opera here.
There's plenty of that there.
Plenty. Never know. It could be a trap.
It could be a trap.
That's like something Batman would say. I wonder if the writer was inspired by Batman in a way. Hey, I saw that Egghead episode. Instead of eggs, we're going to use Brussels sprouts. Oh. Yeah. 5 more minutes, less than 5 minutes to go. As we enter the final stretch here. Mm. You know, the funny thing is, if he hadn't killed a lot of people, we would probably feel more empathy for the guy. Convinced that he has accomplished his vendetta, Phibes retreats to the basement to inter himself in a stone sarcophagus containing the embalmed body of his wife. He drains his blood, replacing it with embalming fluid, lies down in the sarcophagus next to Victoria, and the coffin's inlaid stone lid slides into place, completely concealing it. Trout and the police arrive and realize that Phibes is nowhere to be found, and they recall that the final curse was darkness. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And you know, like,
no, there's a lot of different colored liquids in this.
Yeah.
A lot of different colored liquids. Oh, now they're entering their coffins like Dracula. Yeah, this is insane. Funnily enough, there was a Batman. There was a 3-part Batman episode with the Joker and the Penguin, where they doubled up to try to go after Batman, and like Joker commits 12 crimes, all according to the Zodiac. Ah. You know, like there's a crime related to Taurus the bull, and this crime and that crime. And he gets Penguin out of prison through a laundry truck, and they called it Operation Laundry Bag.
That's clever.
That is actually quite clever. I love it when the Joker calls Batman and tells him, "Taurus the bull is next on my show, and you'll soon be singing a song of woe." Hangs up, and Robin is like, "Taurus the bull, you think it's a trick?" And Batman says, "I don't think it's a trick, Robin. I don't think it's Taurus either. There was no crime for Taurus the bull. What Joker was basically feeding him was bullshit."
Yeah, that's great.
That's the joke. That's
damn it, man. That's great.
Also, yeah, Over the Rainbow. Oh, wow. The singer of Dark Town, Strutter's Ball, the singer of One for My Baby and One for the Road. So there's all the music. Oh, interesting. The protagonist. It's not a typical cast list where they split the cast members according to the protagonists, the girl, the victims. Oh, that's really interesting. Very original. I haven't seen that in a lot of movies.
The Law.
The Law, yes. Peter Jeffrey is Trout. Really good performance. Let's see. Yeah. First policeman, second policeman, third policeman, fourth policeman. Interested parties. Oh, yeah, the rabbi. I forgot to mention him. He was a British actor that he did a lot of stuff too, in like Exodus, Tom Jones, Oliver, Ben-Hur. He was nominated for an Oscar for Ben-Hur, actually.
Oh.
Made on location at the EMI MGM Elstree Studios, Boreham Wood, Hertfordshire, England. Yeah, and that is The Abominable Dr. Phibes from 1971, an American international picture. Yes, indeed. Wow, this went a lot better than I was expecting. A lot better. Oh, that was so much fun. Thank you for joining me again, man. Seriously. Yeah. Well, hey, please consider coming next week for Escape from the Planet of the Apes, even if you've never seen it.
If I could track that down in time. I mean, I can find it if I need to. I know.
Well, you can get it on Amazon Prime. You don't have to get a physical copy, of course, because I have the Planet of the Apes collection right here, which of course includes all 5 of the original Planet of the Apes movies, including Escape, right there at the bottom. And I actually just ordered on eBay a Behind the Planet of the Apes, which is like a 2-disc, 4-hour documentary on the making of the movies.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I'll be sure to check that out. Oh, thank you, Cliff. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming in. I mean, like I said, this is the very first commentary I've done on my channel. And I'm surprised at how successful it was. I'm actually
I mean, I wasn't much help as far as, info, but
well, you were great, man. Oh, you were great. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, here again, I mean, I have a limited we both have limited histories with this movie. And like I said, I think this was more of a like a test run to see, but I'll be doing other movies where I have significantly more knowledge about. In fact, I mean, maybe with certain movies, knowledge that not many other people know. I mean, this is just an example of something I saw in high school that I thought, I gotta see this again. I have to see this again. I love Vincent Price. I remembered when, this was, so, oh, wow. So, but anyway, we are finished. I'm going to retire for the evening. So at any rate, thank you again. You're awesome, man. I really do.
I appreciate
it. Thank you, Ben Grimm. Thank you, Cliff Booth. And thank you, Ging, for all joining. Please put a like on the stream if you hadn't already. And like I said, next Monday, the wait a minute. Next Monday, the 24th at 11 p.m., we will do Escape from the Planet of the Apes. So, so at any rate, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will end the broadcast. Just 1 second. I'll just end the broadcast real quick. Peace, everybody. Thank you.